Hi guys, this is Nuclear Aphrodite and welcome back to my channel once again. Today we'll be flying the American D Block 52, the dual seat version, the Delta Block 52 of the United States Air Force in a United States Air Force test livery in the Falcon Island Iron Eagle series. In this series of episodes, I'm going to show you the F-16 from an entirely different perspective and from an entirely different software. Falcon 4.34 BMS, which is a software developed for Tom's hardware. This software is much more detailed than the DCS World. However, it lacks the graphics quality that the DCS World has. World has a very good graphics quality. However, the control systems of the DCS World, the F-16s are not real, are quite real, but they are not interactable. So in this software, the F-16 and every button in the cockpit, every single button in the cockpit is interactable. So let's jump inside the cockpit and let's start this aircraft. I'm going to unpause and start it. So what I will do first is close down the canopy from a button which is hidden over here. We have closed the canopy and the canopy lock is on. Next, what we are going to do is turn on the electric power to battery, and as soon as we turn on, here you can see there's a display that shows main generator light, stable generator light, and FLCS, flight control systems ready. This means the battery has power and the battery of the aircraft is not weak. Next, what we are going to do is we are going to go to the test panel over here and press the manual interior lights, and this is going to cycle through all the lights and control system failure of the aircraft that responds verbally and tells the pilot that this particular system has failed during flight. So what we're going to do is press and hold this button for a couple of seconds.
Pull up. Altitude. Warning. Jammer. Counter. Cap. Flare. Low. Out. Lock. IFF. Caution. Bingo. Data.
Now that the cycle is complete, we are going to unpress, we're going to release the button. Now next, what we're going to do is press and hold the flight control system power button, which shows the flight control system of the left and right. Here you can see FLCS power left and right. If I press this to test and it says C A B C D and it shows a green light, it means all the flight control systems on the left wing and the right wing, which includes flaps, tabs, leading edge flaps, trailing edge flaps, ailerons, elevators, rudder, all are working very well. So I'm going to release this and switch it to norm. Next, what we're going to do is press and hold the O-box, onboard oxygen generating system, build and test, and we are going to cycle through the fault avionics panel over here, and there's no light. So guys, this is how it works, and it is working. Now what we're going to do is press and hold fire and oxygen heat, O heat detect, so we can see if we can find any fire. If we can find any fire and oxygen or any heat abnormal activity inside the aircraft, and there is none. So we are going to release this. Then we are going to press the EPU generator to when the aircraft starts, and we want the EPU safety pin to be to be removed by the crew chief. So this happens when the aircraft is in idle throttle. And probe heat is all the probes that are on the aircraft, like angle of attack indicator, altitude indicator probe, a VHF, UHF probe. All these probes, they have small holes where they gather the readings for the aircraft, like altitude, speed, and different sort of readings. If there's any blockage in these probes, so the pilot would get the readings correctly. So if there's a cold weather and there's a ice formation over these probes, so the pilot has to press and hold the probe heat for about 20 seconds so that the probes can get warm up and the pilot can remove all the blockage or the ice formation on the probes. So I'm going to unpause this, and what I'm going to do is next look throughout the flight control systems. The digital backup should be off, all alternate flaps extended to normal, manual terrain fly up disabled, leading edge flaps to auto, which is correct. It is going to release or work according to the flight control system and the landing gear up and down. The flight control reset, we don't need it at the moment. The flight control bit, it works when the aircraft is in idle position. Next, what we're going to do is go through the manual trim. The manual trim needles of the left and right wing should be in the middle. The manual trim pitch according to the setting, whether the pilot wants it from the disk or the pilot wants it from the panel to control the trim. So most of the cases the pilot find it very convenient to trim the aircraft from the control column. Here you can see on the control column the manual trim. So we are going to switch it to disk. So if we switch it to disk, we won't have the control authority or to trim the aircraft through this panel. We will be doing this from the control column. However, if we switch this to normal, then we'll have the control authority in the panel, and we'll be controlling the manual pitch, trim, yaw trim, and the trim of the wings from the panel. Next, what we're going to do is come to the fuel panel. We are going to see if the master fuel is on with its cover safe, tank inerting off, engine feed normal, air to air refueling button, air to air refuel to close. Then what we're going to do the next is switch the IFF, identify friend or foe, to standby. Then we're going to turn on all the lights, anti-collision lights, position lights to flash, wing lights, fuselage lights to bright, master lights to norm, which means all the lights are going to turn on. Then the formation light to full brightness. And then what we're going to do is next turn on all the radios, turn on COM 1, COM 2, miscellaneous volume on, threat volume to on, and all of these two knobs to sequential, intercom to full, tactical air navigation volume off, ILS off, we don't require it at the moment. Okay, then what we're going to do next is turn towards the fuel panel and fuel quantity selection panel, and we're going to see if it is set to normal because we don't have fuel tanks or any other configuration. Next, what we're going to do is see if we have engine air source. Here is the engine air source knob. We're going to switch it to normal, and so that the engine air source is on and the aircraft can have a dry start. The engine can crank and aircraft can have a dry start. Then we are going to insert the fuel in the engine from throttle detent. Now next what we're going to do is turn on the oxygen supply valve as well, so that we can have oxygen and we have flow. You can see the pilot breathing. We can hear the pilot breathe. Now what we're going to do is turn the electric power to main power, and then finally turn on the jet fuel starter too, and the engine is spinning. As we do so, we're going to see in the electric power panel, you can see the flight control system FLCS PMG light on, main generator light on, standby generator light on, and 2 FLCS light on, which means this is working perfectly. And now you can see the jet fuel starter run. It shows a green light, which means the engine RPM is running, and as soon as the engine RPM goes around 20 or 22%, I am going to increase the throttle to idle detent. Now we have the RPM on around 25%. Now we are going to idle detent the throttle to introduce fuel in the engine, because the aircraft is right now in the dry start position. So we have done idle detent and we have inserted fuel, and the power is increasing. And as soon as the power goes to idle, means the throttle reaches the throttle reaches around RPM reaches around 60%, everything turns on, and the pilot has to turn off the jet fuel starter. And now we have an engine running on idle. Now what we are going to do next is turn on the avionics power. We are going to turn on the INS to normal, mission management computer on, STA on, multiple functional display screen on, upfill controls on, data link on, GPS on. And here we can see we have all the control systems turned on. MFDs, they take around a little bit of time to turn themselves on, and you can see now the MFDs have been powered on. Now what we're going to do is turn on the radar warning receiver. We're going to press this button, power, and we have system power. We have beep in the radar warning receiver. We are going to switch this to altitude, the altitude search pattern to low, altitude and high altitude as well. And we'll do this by clicking over here and here, and we have our RWR turned on. Now we have to press the missile launch button so we can see if the RWR ALE 56 version 2 is working correctly. This is the radar warning system of an F-16. Now we also have to do is press the system test button so we can test if the system is working correctly. And here you can see the system is working correctly. Now as soon as we notice the data entry display, you can see the INS is in the alignment position, and as soon as the countdown reaches 8.0, we are going to have our INS aligned and it is going to blink. So then we'll have to switch the INS button to navigation, but until this happens we'll have to turn on the FCR fire control radar from the sensor panel, radar altitude to and the altitude to radar altitude. Then we can also turn on the console lights if we want to, and turn on the internal display lights if we need it. But since we don't need these, so I'm going to turn this off. Okay. Now as soon as we turn off the FCR, the most interesting thing that I like to tell the viewers about the F-16 is that the F-16's fire control radar AN/APG 68 version 9 takes around 155 seconds to warm up and turn itself on. Yes, because in the FCR page you can see bit time remaining is 155 seconds. So it takes around 155 seconds to turn on the F-16's radar no matter what. However, in the case of the JF-17 Thunder, it just takes around a couple of seconds to turn on the radar. So in this case, the JF-17 Thunder's startup is pretty faster than the F-16's. Imagine if a pilot is in combat and accidentally turns off the FCR and has to turn on the FCR again. It is going to take 155 seconds, which is a hell lot of time in an air combat. So it takes 155 seconds to turn on an F-16's radar, and as soon as the radar turns on, the display of the page changes from bit time remaining is to this particular second to check FCR control page. Now as you can see, we also have our master caution light on. We have to press the master caution light on so we can see if there's any problem in the fault avionics panel, which is here. Now what we are going to do is press and hold this button FAC, fault/avionics check. If we press and hold this button and there is no problem in the avionics, the fault avionics panel will not display its light. So we are doing good so far. So let me also press some time compression, increase time, and see now we have our FCR radar turned on. Now what we're going to do is press standby over here and turn the radar to CRM, and the radar is now working. Now what we're going to do is wait for the INS to align and increase the time compression so we can get our INS alignment quickly. Alright, so we are near the alignment. INS reaches 7.9 and we are about to be aligned. Now I'm going to set this now to navigation, and our INS has been aligned, and we have everything. We have turned on everything so far, but there's one more thing that we have to turn on. We have to turn on this. We have to turn on the radio set to UFC upward controls so we can have our radio turned on. Okay, so guys, this was the startup procedure of an F-16 D Block 52 of United States Air Force, but there are just few things also left. We have to tell the crew chief to remove the chocks and remove the EPU safety pin. So what we are going to do is first tell the crew chief to remove the engine emergency power unit safety pin, but to do so we will have to press and hold down the EPU generator switch, and then tell the crew chief to remove the EPU switch. Otherwise we would not have the power in the EPU. Okay, now since the EPU safety pin has been removed, what we're going to do is tell the crew chief to remove chocks, and now we have also removed the chocks. Now since we have removed the chocks, our aircraft is ready to go, and just wait and hold. Alright, so guys, this was the startup procedure of the F-16. and the aircraft is now moving for the taxi. So guys, I'll be coming with more videos of the F-16 aircraft. So this was the first phase of our flight, and for viewers who like our page, I want you to subscribe, and thank you very much. Take care and goodbye.